Hello everyone and welcome to Java Forever course. Currently we are learning arrays, and in the last class we learned about the how to access and value in the array, how to create an array. We also learned that arrays are mutable. That means you can read and write the values to the array. Now we will look a little bit more into it, kind of a recap before we go and learn how to do more operations on the arrays. Let's see how do we access an individual element in that list or group. Now, as you can see on my screen, we are talking what we have created a list of grades on an array of grades, and since we already know those values, I am putting it in the curly braces. Now, if I want to print the second index, which is 0, 1, 2, this value, all I have to do is to use the name of the variable, square bracket, and the value of the index or the position number, and in this case it is 2. This will print A as an output. This is how you always access or read a value. Suppose I want to say, congratulations, you got some grade. And suppose you are the third student in the class, which is starting with 0, it will be 0, 1, and 2. You will use the same thing, grades with square bracket and index number. Now this value can be an absolute number, which is 0 to the number 10, 20, whatever it is, based on the number of elements in the array. Or it can be a variable too. So you can see here I am using a variable called k-1. As long as k-2 or k-2 here, or k-1 here, as long as this results in a final value which is a number, and that number is a valid position number in the group, you will be fine and system will perfectly return a value. It doesn't have to be a number. Let system calculate the final number, because when we say k equal to 4 and we say k-2, Java will automatically calculate and make it 2. Java will calculate and make it 3. So this is as good as names of 2, and this is on names of 4 minus 1, which is 3. Java will do it for us. So it can be a variable. As long as it computes to a number, we should be good. Now, what really happens is when you put a index position here, when we are reading the value or when we are writing the value, either you use, let's say I say string x equal to names of 20, or I am saying I want to update the value and say names of 20 equal to, let's say, grade G, double quotes. What happens in both these cases is the number, that the index position that you are saying that, hey, go in this group, go and find 20th and give me the value and return that value and store it in a variable called x. And since the name is a string, that's why I'm using the string here. But then position 20 does not exist. Similarly, in the next line, we are saying go and set a value of position number 20 or index 20 to G. And same thing, that room does not even exist in that block. So Java is going to throw us an error saying array index out of bound exception. Java throws an error, and that, the name of that error would be, Java has a name for each exception it throws, and it's called array index out of bound. When we say exception, that basically means that program will stop and it will exit and will tell you that I can't proceed because, memory failure or, whatever happens, and it will give you the specific reason of what really happened. And in this case, it is array index out of bound. That means in plain English, that room number is not there. That position number does not exist. Either nobody is there or, you cannot set the value. And it makes perfect sense because it doesn't exist. Now, in order to update the value of an element in the array, all we have to do is we have to set the value in the way I talked about. We are going to set this similar to what we did, we use the name of the variable, use the index, and then say equal to. So this is going to set a value in the individual at an individual position number. If there is a value, it will be overwritten. If let's say value of 1 is already the first element, you can see here in this box, the first one is bicycle, second one is bus. So 0th is bicycle, first is bus. But now we want to change bus and we want to say it's an airplane. In this case, if I say vehicle and square bracket of 1 equal to, we are setting a value in the position number 1 and it's going to be an airplane. Now if I print it, the first 0th index will be still print bicycle, but when we are reading the first value, it is no longer bus, it is airplane. That is how you update or alter the value or alternate element in a given position. When you deal with array, you always deal with an index. It is as simple as that, because you use the name of the variable with a square bracket here and give the index number. Now let's see if I want to iterate the value. I want to read every value in the list, not just one element, because so far we saw how to use position number to read one element. But now we'll see if I want to read all the values. Naturally, the easiest way to do is to use a for loop. Using a for loop, we can read each value, because for loop the for loop makes it easy to iterate. So let's see that we have declared a list of vehicles here. Let's say bicycle, bus, boat, train, truck, and scooter. If I say I want to use an indexer, I want to use what I call counter I equal to 0, and I want to go up to less than or equal to 5. Why? Because this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The position number cannot be more than 5. You can see that. So the value of I has to be less than or equal to 5. And then you are going to increase by 1, because that is the hop, right? It's always by 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm going to use this position number or this counter to act as a position number and retrieve the values. So what will happen is when I say system.out.print and I say vehicles of I, this I will change every time the loop goes and updates the values. So first time I will be 0, because I'm saying I equal to 0. Next time I will be 1. So whatever is the value of 1, which is bus, will print. And the way it is going to print, I'm saying print. I'm not saying print line. So it will print on the same line. It will say bicycle and it will have a tab. You can see I'm inserting a special character, tab character here by \T. That means it will hit a tab and will say bus. Then again it will a tab and will say boat, and so on. Now the variable name I can be anything. As long as I is an integer and the value of I remains between 0 and 5, we should be good. Now there is a second way of processing the data in a list or in an array. This is in fact is the same way, but it is a variation of for loop. If you remember, the way we learned for loop is we had a for loop and we used an counter. We say int I equal to 0, I less than equal to 5, and I plus plus. And we had a curly brace here. Another variation of for loop is what we call it an enhanced for loop. In this for loop version, we are simply saying for, and we say whatever is the data element in each x in, let's say, grades. The way it works is we are saying for every entry in grades, bring that entry into x. Since grade is a list of strings, we will use data type of x as a string. If it is a number of, if it's a marks, we'll say int x. and marks. Another way of writing it is, I can say that for, let's say I'm dealing with marks. I'll say for int marks, mark, I'll not say s, then colon marks. You can read this as for every mark in marks. As simple as that. This way, Java's enhanced for loop lets you iterate the values directly. You don't have to use the index. Basically, from 0th index to the end, it is going to give you the value one by one. So if I do here print line, again system.out.print line, I will simply, if I print mark, first time this value of mark will be, let's say I have a list here, 10, 20, 15, 16, 11. This is my list of marks. In Java, in fact, you will declare this as, if you move this here, you will say int square bracket marks equal to, and in the parenthesis, you'll say 10, 20, 15, 16, 11 curly braces. Now, when you say for int mark in marks, mark is a separate variable and marks is my list. My mark is a temporary variable in the int of type int, because each entry is an integer here. First time marks will be 10, so it will print 10. The next time, in the next iteration, marks will be second entry from the mark, 20. As you can see, we are not using the index. We are using enhanced for loop to directly print the value, directly read the value of each element or each entry in the list. That is the second way of reading it. Now, one downside of this model is that you do not know the position number. All you are reading is only the index, or reading the element itself, the guest inside the room. You don't know whether room number was or index was 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. If I want to use this model to find out if there is a number exist in this list, I will not be able to tell. I can only tell that yes, a number exists. For example, I can, go ahead and check in this statement here. Let's say if mark equal to, suppose the marks I want to find is, let's say int a equal to 11. I want to find if 11 exists in this list or not. For every entry mark, I'm going to check if this entry is equal to a or not. If yes, then I want to print saying yes, marks found, and maybe I want to do a break statement because I want to exit once it's found. But what I do not know with this model, enhanced for loop, is the position number at which it was found. But if I use the previous model where I was using index, then I can, using an index, we can retrieve the value, compare the value, and also know the value of the index itself where the number was found. Hope it is clear. Now, the second disadvantage of using an enhanced loop is that since we are using the index, we can set a value back. As you can see in the example here, that I can take the value, read the value, multiply by 3 and set the new value, new result back in this. This is possible. That means update is possible using a regular for loop. But the same thing is not possible in the enhanced for loop. I cannot say that for, let's say in the same example, for int x in, my bad here, let me move this here. I cannot say for int, let's say x in b is an array. You cannot here say x equal to x multiplied by 3, in which case x is individual element and every iteration of the loop you are going to the next value. Now, sorry about that. So in every value, we cannot, using the enhanced for loop, we cannot update the value back in the array. That's the second disadvantage. With that, I'll let you guys go ahead and practice take the quiz. I know it is a lengthy chapter, but please go ahead and practice it. It's one of the super important concept. I'll see you guys again in the next class. We'll look into the another data structure. Bye bye.
Thanks for watching. Do subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.